Hello, welcome to Unit 4. This is Miss Moreland. We're going to finish off our last section in Unit 4, which is 7.4 quotient properties or dividing properties, however you want to look at it. So, again, it's important to note that we need to have the same base, meaning A and A or B and B or 2 and 2. We need to have the same base in order to be able to combine A to the m over A to the m. And when we divide two of the same bases, we subtract the exponent. So it should be A to the m minus n. Same idea as before is when I have something outside, it's sort of like I'm distributing it to both parts. So we're going to get A to the n over B to the n. Okay? And then again, this negative is sort of the same thing. I'm going to flip it, so I'm going to get B on top and A on the bottom. And I'm also going to distribute the n to both parts. So I get B to the n over A to the n. So I'm reciprocating it when there's a negative exponent. So we're going to start with some examples. Notice I have a base of 4 on both of these. So when I have the same base and is being divided, I subtract the exponents. 5 minus 2 leaves me with 2, or 5 minus 3 leaves me with 2. So I get 4 squared. Over here, I have two of the same bases. I have A, and I have B and B. So for each of the exponents, I'm going to subtract, so I'm going to get A to the second. And then B is funny because I get B to the negative 2, which really means that I have 2 left on the bottom. And you can see that because I have B to the 9th on top, B to the 11th on the bottom. You can see that the bigger number's on the bottom, which means that's where the exponent's going to be. So I get A squared over B squared. Right, this one I have a couple steps to do before I can combine. The top I don't have anything to do, but that bottom here, I need to multiply those two together because it's a power to a power from last lesson. So I get m to the 6th instead of m to the 3rd to the 2nd. And the end of the 6th I didn't do anything with. Now I can start combining my like bases. So notice I have an m and an m. And an n and an n. So I can subtract the m's exponents. So 8 minus 6 leaves me with m to the 2nd. And when I do 4 minus 6, I get a negative 2. Or in other words, the bigger exponents on the bottom, I'm going to be left with n to the 2nd on the bottom. Right? The first step on the next one is to get rid of this exponent outside. Now that doesn't have to be your first step. You could have combined bases too. But I don't like having parentheses in my problem, so I'm going to get rid of the exponent outside by multiplying. So I get A to the 9th, B to the 3rd, A to the 6th, B to the 6th on the bottom. Now I can start combining my exponents. So I get A to the 9th, A to the 6th, B to the 3rd, and B to the 6th. So I'm going to subtract 9 minus 6 gives me A to the 3rd. And the next one, 3 minus 6 gives me a negative 3. In other words, that means it's going to be left on the bottom. So my final answer is A to the 3rd over B to the 3rd. Right, the next one, again, I don't like having this outside, so I'm going to distribute to all parts. So I have 4 things to distribute it to. So I get 2 to the 3rd, 3 times 3 for my x is x to the 9th, y to the 3rd, and z to the 3rd on the bottom. And I don't have any like bases here, so I cannot combine this x with anything on the bottom. I don't have any more bases, so all of these are different. So I have a y, a z, and an x. So that means I can't do anything with them. So the only other step is, remember, whenever I have a number that I can simplify, I want to do so. So I'm just going to go ahead and simplify 2 to the 3rd, which is really 2 times 2 times 2, which leaves you with 8. Again, I can't simplify anything else, so my final answer is 8x to the 9th, y to the 3rd, z to the 3rd. Right, now there's 2 ways you can do this next one. First way, distribute it to all parts, so you get 2 to the negative 3rd, x to the negative 3rd, and y to the negative 3rd. Then start moving things, so this whole, the 2 is going to go to the bottom since it's negative on top. The x to the negative 3 is going to go on the bottom since it's negative on top. And that one's going to move on the top. So I could do that. So I get y to the 3rd, so basically everything reciprocates. Everything on top moves to the bottom, everything in the bottom moves to the top. So I get y to the 3rd over 2 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd. Again, the last step on this, there are no like bases, so my last step is just simplify that number there. You should know that 2 to the 3rd is now 8. That's one method, okay? So we're going to just draw a line there. Another method would be to flip it right away. So you're going to get y over 2x, and then you just change the exponent to positive because you already reciprocated. Then you would distribute, so you get y to the third. Oops, I still have my negatives. That should be a positive. Y to the third over 2 to the third, x to the third. And those should all be positive. Right? And then the last step again is to simplify your number. And you notice that I get the same answer regardless, and it was approximately the same amount of work. It's 3 steps. I would do it either way. I don't have a preference. Just make sure you change your exponents to positive, unlike me. Right, in our last example, I want to point out that numbers are still numbers again. So if we have 8 divide 4, we don't subtract them, we only subtract the exponents. So 8 divide 4 is still a number, it's 2. Okay, let's figure out where to put my answer. So there's 2. X to the third over x to the second, I can subtract those. So 3 minus 2 gives me 1. Now notice I'm going to put x to the Okay, so that I just divided my numbers. Notice I'm going to put 2x to the first here. You don't need the 1. I'm just pointing out that that's what I got. All right, notice y does not have anything to combine with. Y is kind of its own base right there. So I'm still going to have a y to the fifth on top. And then I have z to the first, and whenever there's nothing there, it might be helpful to write a 1 in. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Or in other words, that just means I'm going to be left with z on the bottom. And again, you don't need that 1 there. It's just showing you that 1 minus 2 is negative 1, and that's why I left it on the bottom. All right, so try your own tonight. Try on your own tonight, and I will see you tomorrow in class.